No, Shantanu, thank you very much. I just want to, bring you in before we end today, and for our an audience here. Prime Minister also spoke about uh, making open standards, keeping AI open to the world for the benefit of democratizing, in sense, AI, as opposed to caging it and having it in the hands of a few. Talk about it. A lot of people have views on this. From countries like India and many other, all the European leaders who are assembled here today, there seems to be a very clear message: engage with each other, make open standards. AI should be available to all for the benefit of humanity. Is there any danger that some of the leading AI developers, companies, may keep it more controlled, and we may have to fight that battle hard?
I think you're going to have the inevitable challenge between commercial enterprises who want to keep information proprietary, Sunil, and how they advance it, with how do you do good for humanity. And so I think he was absolutely correct in reflecting that this is going to be an ongoing challenge. I can speak for Adobe. I mean, one of the things we've always done is everything that we do is open standards. I think the reason why PDF has adopted itself so massively is because it was an open standard. But I think it'll require companies and enterprises uh, to behave differently and really recognize what is their sustainable advantage. And the sustainable advantage cannot, I think, over time be just the model. It has to be the use cases of what people are doing with that model. And so I think it'll require all of us also in companies to prevent, again, as he said, from being disrupted by not just doing what we are doing. But I'm actually confident now. I do think India is better positioned than most other countries. The question is, I mean, you've again been a pioneer in bringing your services and connectivity around the world. I'm less confident about what will happen in those countries. I'm a lot more confident about what will happen in India.
So, how can we showcase India's frugal power of innovation? Uh, Look at the Gaganyaan, the moon mission. India did it at $74 million. US did it at $92 billion. And India had a perfect landing on the moon, on the difficult side of the moon. How can we persuade US companies, large conglomerates, to use India not only for billions of people using their products, but how to learn from frugal innovation that we do here?
That's our secret sauce, Sunil. I mean, in many ways, I see Raj and, so many other good friends here from India who've done well in the US. I think it's because we use Jugaad. And so, I think to some degree, that is the secret sauce that exists in India. And, that's how I think we've all been able to, succeed on the global stage. But
So on that note,
yes,
thank
thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sunil Mittal and Mr. Shantanu, for that enriching conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Mukesh Dhirubhai Ambani, Chairman and Managing Director of Reliance Industries, a global powerhouse shaping the future of business and innovation. Under his visionary leadership, Reliance has transformed industries from energy and telecommunications to retail and digital services, impacting millions of lives. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Mukesh Dhirubhai Ambani.
Distinguished guests, my fellow Indians, Namaste. The Global AI Impact Summit is a defining moment in India's tech history, a moment when India pledges to make AI one of the driving forces to realize its dream of a Viksit Bharat, the dream of becoming a fully developed nation by 2047, the glorious centenary of our independence. We are deeply honored that our most respected Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi, is the guide, philosopher, and leader of this summit. Honorable Minister Sri Vaishnav and his wonderful team deserve full praise for organizing this summit on a grand scale befitting India's ambition. Modi ji's vision of AI powered Viksit Bharat is also a template for a Viksit Global South. If wisely used, I believe AI can usher in an era of superabundance, a world without poverty, and a future of prosperity for all the 8 billion people on our beautiful planet is now within sight, within reach. Friends, artificial intelligence is not just another technology. For the first time, humans are creating human like systems that can learn, speak, analyze, move, and produce autonomously. AI is the mantra that powers every yantra or every machine and system to work faster, better, and smarter. I see AI as a modern day Akshay Patra, the legendary vessel in Mahabharat that provided endless nourishment to all. Likewise, AI offers limitless augmentation in knowledge, efficiency, and productivity. We are only at the dawn of this era. The best of AI is yet to come. Distinguished participants in this summit, today the world is debating a profound question. Will AI concentrate power in the hands of a few, or will it democratize opportunity for all? Do we act as isolated nations or as a united global family? Our polarized world stands at a fork. One path has led to a situation where AI is scarce and expensive, compute is concentrated, data is controlled, and capability is locked behind barriers of capital and geography in the global north. In this dismal scenario, inequality widens between nations, within societies, and across generations. But there is another path, a future where AI is available, affordable, and beneficial to all. As our Prime Minister said, India believes in this second future. Dear friends, from the podium of this summit today, I want to make a bold prediction. India will emerge as one of the greatest AI powers in the world in the 21st century. My confidence is validated by an undeniable truth. In the coming decades, no country in the world can match India's strength in demography, democracy, development, digital infrastructure, data generation, AI harvest. Let me begin, as was said many times this morning, what India has achieved in the past 10 years. First, India is the world's largest mobile data consumer. Nearly 1 billion internet users, data costs among the lowest globally, and in terms of quality, there is no difference between Delhi and the remotest Indian village. Second, Aadhaar, 1.4 billion digital IDs. Third, UPI processes over 12 billion transactions monthly. Fourth, India ranks among the top three startup ecosystems with 100,000 startups and 100 plus unicorns. Fifth, India's secure and inclusive digital public infrastructure stack is now being adopted by countries around the globe. Friends, in all humility, I wish to state that Geo, with over 500 million loyal subscribers, was privileged to play a leading role in this transformation across broadband, 4G, 5G, and home connectivity. With equal humility, I would like to announce that Geo will play an even bigger role in India's AI transformation. Today, on behalf of the Reliance Group and Geo Intelligence, I want to make three announcements. Announcement one, Geo-connected India to the internet era. Geo will now connect India to the intelligence era. We will deliver intelligence to every citizen, every sector of the economy, and every facet of social development and every service of government. Geo will do so with the same reliability, quality, scale, and extreme affordability that transformed connectivity. India cannot afford to rent intelligence. Therefore, we will reduce the cost of intelligence as dramatically as we did the cost of data. Announcement 2. Geo, together with Reliance, will invest 10 lakh crores over the next 7 years, starting this year. This is not speculative investment. It is not for chasing valuation. This is patient, disciplined, nation building capital designed to create durable economic value and strategic resilience for decades to come. Distinguished participants, the biggest constraint in AI today is not talent or imagination. It is scarcity and high cost of compute. Therefore, here is my third announcement. Geointelligence will build India's sovereign compute infrastructure through three bold initiatives. One, gigawatt scale data centers. We already started construction on multi-gigawatt AI-ready data centers at Jamnagar. Over 120 megawatts will come online in the second half of 2026 this year, and a clear path to gigawatt scale compute for training and large scale inference. Two, our green energy advantage. We have an in-house energy advantage with up to 10 gigawatts of ready green power, surplus anchored by solar in both Kutch and Andhra Pradesh. Three, a nationwide edge compute. An edge compute layer deeply integrated with Geo's network will make intelligence responsive, low latency, and affordable, close to where Indians live, learn, and work. From kirana stores to clinics, from classrooms to farms, intelligence will live at the edge. Our resolve is clear: make intelligence as ubiquitous as connectivity. When compute becomes infrastructure, innovation will become inevitable. Friends, geointelligence is guided by five non negotiable principles. First, AI for India's deep tech and advanced manufacturing leadership, reaching not just large enterprises, but agriculture, small businesses, and the informal sector. Geointelligence will not simply be a search or an ask tool. It will primarily be a resource for multiplying productivity and efficiency. Second, world-leading multilingual AI capability across all Indian languages. When farmers and artisans speak to AI in their own words and students learn in their own mother tongue, this is not convenience, this is inclusion. Geo AI Bharat की भाषा में बोलेगा, भारत की संस्कृति में फूलेगा और भारत की मिट्टी में फलेगा. Third, responsibility, security, data residency, and trust as Geo's core guarantees, not afterthought. Fourth, we will prove that AI does not take away jobs. Rather, it will create new high-skill work opportunities. And fifth, the AI story has shifted from who has the best model to who can build the strongest ecosystem for speed and scale of usage. Therefore, we will build deep partnership ecosystem with Indian enterprises, startups, IIT, IISC, and research institutions. We will work shoulder to shoulder with India's leading industrial groups to embed AI across manufacturing, logistics, energy, finance, retail, agriculture, and healthcare. We will empower startups with affordable compute and co development platforms. We will aspire to produce global breakthroughs in compute architecture, foundation models, and energy efficiency, designed in India, rooted in our values, powered by our talent, and scaled for humanity. And we will partner with the very best tech companies in the world, not as importers of intelligence, but as co architects of a new AI century. Dear friends, I believe that social relevance, not momentary craze, should drive AI growth in India. Geo has already started AI applications for the most pressing challenges in inclusive development. In education, we have Geo Shikshak, an adaptive AI teaching assistant in 22 languages. When 250 million school children and 50 million students in higher education are empowered by AI, teachers, no power on earth can match India's talent wealth. In healthcare, Geo Arogya AI delivering first medical guidance in under 5 minutes in local languages on any phone. In agriculture, geokrishi, converting satellite imagery and precision weather into simple voice first advice to 140 million farmers to help improve their income. In everyday life, Geo Bharat IQ, a voice first AI companion helping Indians learn, earn, and access government services at Bharat scale. From wearables to fully connected homes, geoframes, an AI glass device, and next generation AI devices will make intelligence truly ambient, as effortless, and as natural as human conversations. Through Geo Hotstar, AI will multiply Indian creativity with multilingual storytelling. We will popularize India's rich cultural heritage with futuristic technology, enhancing India's soft power globally. Friends, this inaugural Global AI Impact Summit in India has received a massive response. What does that show? It shows that AI is now becoming a people's movement worldwide. The success of this movement hinges critically on global cooperation and not polarization. Be it chips or rare earths, AI works its magic through sharing, not hoarding, through collaborations, not conflicts. The unique strength of India is that India serves as the vital bridge connecting the global south and the global north. After all, south or north, east or west, all of us have only one earth, one family, and one future. Today, at this summit, let us all pledge to transform this noble aspiration into reality using the most powerful gift of the human mind, AI. Let us combine intelligence with empathy and let us build a better future for all. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mukesh Dhirubhai Ambani, for your strong belief in India's capabilities and also for being at the forefront of India's AI revolution. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a big round of applause for Mr. Ambani. And now I would like to invite Sir Damis Hassabis. He is the founder and CEO of Google DeepMind, the co founder of Google DeepMind, and well, he is also the Nobel laureate, a chess prodigy, neuroscientist, and game designer before he became one of the world's leading artificial intelligence researchers. Sir Demis Hassabis brings an almost uniquely cross disciplinary mind to the challenge of building artificial general intelligence. DeepMind's AlphaFold solved a 50-year-old problem in biology, and he's, well, just getting started. Please welcome the co founder and CEO of Google DeepMind, Sir Hassabis.
Thank you. It's a huge honor to be here today with so many of my esteemed colleagues from industry, academia, and government. And congratulations to Prime Minister Modi and the Indian government on convening such an impressive summit at this very pivotal moment for AI. It's fantastic to see how the summit has evolved over the years, with the first meeting convened by Prime Minister Sunak at Bletchley Park in the UK. It's become an incredibly important convening point for international dialogue and hopefully cooperation in the future over the future of AI. When we started DeepMind in 2010, almost nobody was working on AI in industry. It was just a dream. And it's been incredible to see how in the last 15 years, where we've come from the beginnings, those humble beginnings, to now where we are today, where the whole world is talking about AI. The reason I've spent my whole career working on AI is I always believed it would be one of the most important and beneficial technologies ever invented. And for me, my passion is to advance scientific discovery. And I always felt that AI would be the ultimate tool for accelerating scientific discovery and being a force multiplier for human ingenuity. From a very young age, I've been obsessed with the Greek questions of science, the nature of reality, the nature of consciousness, these deep mysteries that are in the universe. And I think AI can help us find answers to these questions that we've pondered over for thousands of years. We're already starting to see the beginnings of this with systems like AlphaFold that we built to solve the 50-year grand challenge of protein folding. And we hope that this will just be the first example of amazing advances in science and medicine that have been enabled by AI. And we and others are working on many other branches of science now to bring AI tools to help advance material science, fusion, physics, and mathematics. In fact, almost every branch of science and medicine can be impacted by AI. And now in 2026, we're another threshold moment where AGI, artificial general intelligence, is on the horizon, maybe within the next 5 years. And we're seeing these general purpose systems, foundational model systems, becoming increasingly capable almost week by week. So this is obviously an amazing opportunity that we should all grasp, economic and productivity, as well as in the sciences. But it's also something that we have to approach with humility and understanding that we don't have all the answers yet as to how this technology is going to develop and to be deployed into the world. I've been really impressed with what I've seen in India. I spent some time prior to the summit in Bangalore. We have a really big office there, Google and DeepMind, a great research office where we do some really critical research that we then bring to our products and our technologies around the world in areas like efficient models, continual learning, and multilingual capabilities. I also had time to give a talk at the Indian Institute of Science at Bangalore, and I was incredibly impressed by the students and the faculty there, their enthusiasm and their energy for AI, and their ideas for how to use AI to improve India standing in the world, and to also seize all the new economic opportunities and scientific opportunities that AI opens up. It was incredibly impressive to see the energy around the country. And I think that India will indeed be a powerhouse for AI across the globe. We have many partnerships. Sundar, you heard Sundar announce many Google partnerships that we have with India. I'm especially proud of our deep partnership with Mr. Ambani and the Reliance Jio group to bring intelligence to everyone in India with our Gemini foundation models in partnership with Reliance. So we hope to build on that in the next few years. So if I was to try and quantify what's coming down the line with the advent of AGI, I think it's going to be one of the most momentous periods in human history. Probably something more like the advent of fire or electricity. One way maybe we can quantify that is, I think it's going to be something like 10 times the impact of the Industrial Revolution, but happening at 10 times the speed, probably unfolding in a matter of a decade rather than a century. So really, this is an enormous amount of change is going to come, and it's still to be written how we can make that beneficial for the whole world. And I think the main way we should try to do this is by taking a scientific approach, using the scientific method to understand what the capabilities of these systems are, to build good guardrails and monitoring systems, to understand more deeply what these systems are capable of and how we can make sure that they serve the purposes that we want. And then, of course, simultaneously, we also have to be bold to grasp these new opportunities to advance science and medicine and to improve human health and the human condition that society and the globe badly needs. So I think we've got to try and navigate this moment very carefully, very thoughtfully. And if we do so, I'm very optimistic that we'll usher in a great new era. But of course, this can't just be left to technologists. And that's why summits like this are really important, to bring together all parts of society, the technologists that are building it, the scientists that are building it, governments and how to deploy it for the best use of their citizens, but also artists, social scientists, and philosophers. We need to bring all of these debates into the tent to understand how we should navigate this next period in human history. And I think summits like this, international summits like this, are critical to encourage this kind of international dialogue and cooperation. And if we get this right, these next steps right, I think we can usher in a new golden era of scientific discovery and improve the lives and health of everyone in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Hassabis, for your very profound and illuminating address. We really thank you. Sincere gratitude to your address. Ladies and gentlemen, and now I would like to invite Mr. Vishal Sikka. He's the founder and CEO of VNI. As CEO of Infosys, Vishal Sikka has led one of the most ambitious transformations in Indian IT history before leaving to build VNI, a company focused on human centered artificial intelligence. He is, well, a computer scientist by training, a philosopher by temperament. He is one of the most original thinkers of the intersection of AI and enterprise. Please welcome the founder and CEO of VNI, Mr. Vishal Sikka.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Wow, wonderful introduction, and what an amazing event. Um, I want to share 3 points from a long time that I have spent in AI. My first point is that what we see today in the world of AI, people who know what they are doing with AI are astonishingly effective with AI. Recently, a friend of mine, he and I were students together at Stanford. He has a large service that he runs, open public service. That service was built by 15 people, very world-class engineers, over 9 months. Recently, he rebuilt that service entirely by himself in 14 days using one of the generative AI coding tools. So if you are counting, that is about a more than 250 times improvement in productivity. Now he's a genius and not everyone gets a 250 times productivity gain, but you will see that people who understand how to use AI are astonishingly effective with it. And I had a similar experience recently with a customer of mine who is a distributor of home goods, and one of their main suppliers shut down their factories in one of their countries, and they did analysis using our product, all kinds of simulation scenarios. And over a few days, they reached the decision that they need to exit that country entirely. I asked him, such a monumental decision to get out of an entire country, how long would that have taken you before? And he said, easily it would have taken a year. And it would have involved heavy duty consultants and things like that. So we now have instant access to knowledge in any language, a condensation of things that we can present in any way. It is an incredible power. And yes, it is deeply disruptive to the ways that we have worked before, the way that we have done things in the past. But at the same time, and even more importantly, We can do unprecedented things with this, things that we could never do before. So this astonishing effectiveness, and Joshua referred to this as a jagged frontier, it is not uniform. Not everyone sees this. So that's my second point. Being effective with AI requires not only a knowledge of AI itself, but understanding its limitations and how to overcome those limitations. There is a huge gap between LLMs and the business users inside enterprises, especially, and how to bring value to those users. And overcoming that gap is where a lot of value creating opportunity is. That bridging that gap requires delivering correct systems, trusted, verifiable, reliable systems that deliver value to people. My own company works in this area, a layer that sits above the language models and delivers value to business users while ensuring correctness and things like that. When we overcome that gap, we can deliver massive value. Mukesh Bhai talked about it just now. We can transform every existing system, legacy systems, enormous complexities inside enterprises can be removed, industries can be transformed. We can give end users wings, we can amplify them to deliver things that were not possible to do before, that, or in the best case, it required professionals to do this. Doing that also requires not just overcoming the limitations of AI, but also imagination to see what is not there, to see what is possible. India has all of this in great abundance. The Honorable Prime Minister has called for 1 billion entrepreneurs, people who can overcome these and deliver value using AI. And I think this is exactly what the world needs and what India has the potential for. My third point is that we not only have to master today's AI, but we have to leapfrog it. AI today has enormous limitations. I have worked in AI for the last 38 years. You know, one of our scriptures is Bhaj Govindam. It was written by the Shankaracharya, and it has a beautiful line. Samprapte sannihite kale, nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karane. What it means is that when you are faced with a life or death situation, the knowledge of a book does not help you. Knowledge without wisdom does not save us. That wisdom comes from living, from doing, from being in the world. AI today has plenty of limitations. Joshua mentioned hallucinations. That's one of the main issues blocking the use of AI in enterprises. But beyond hallucinations, understanding the world, understanding physical activities, um, the physical movement, this is one of the next frontiers. Safety, safety of AI, and the Honorable Prime Minister talked about this today, is an existential issue. Swarms of agents can be made to do completely reckless things, and we don't yet have ways to understand or deal with this. And Joshua and Demis also talked about this. We have to solve this issue. We have to deliver AI that is safe. We have done this with nuclear power for the last 80 plus years. We can and we must do this with AI. Energy is another one of these issues. Where I live in California on Highway 101, just north of San Tomas, I drive by there every time I go to see my dad. There is a massive data center that is coming up. It's 720 megawatts. And this idea that I write a prompt and these gazillion GPUs blast into existence to produce a response, and then I make a tiny change to that prompt and then I do that again, it just seems like a completely absurd idea, especially to someone who has been around AI for such a long time. Um, I have, thanks to the Ministry of IT, Honorable Ashwini Vaishnavji, I have a colleague who has been accompanying me throughout this conference, and he told me that yesterday he walked 32,000 steps. And I asked him, what did you eat? And he said, I ate 2 burgers. Shubham, if you're here, 2 burgers. You know, we normally eat 2000 calories in a day. That's about a 100-watt light bulb, like less than one of these light bulbs. And out of that, our brain, our nervous system is maybe 15, 20 watts. That's like when your laptop is in sleep mode, it takes more power than that. So there are many zeros still to be removed from these models, and the models themselves have to be removed. So I think that there is um, a tremendous opportunity here. India is a country of the human potential. We have plenty of times before delivered the ability to billion plus Indians. Mukesh bhai talked about Geo, and Sunil talked about Airtel, and how now we have billion plus Indians who have data and connectivity. And when I was young, one of my earliest childhood memories is of worry in my parents' faces around food. They used to tell stories of how there was a shortage of food. And then the Green Revolution happened, and India is now one of the largest exporters of food in one generation. So I think that when you look at the time of intelligence, it is not only an opportunity to learn about this technology, to learn to master this technology, to understand its limitations, but to leapfrog that and to build the next generation of it. And as this summit so vividly demonstrates, we can be on our way to a human revolution powered by AI, by good AI, by purposeful AI, where every one of us, a billion entrepreneurs, is not just making a living, but is making a life. Not some artificial life or some artificial general life, but our own life and the life of others. And that would be so much fun to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sika, for your profound and very interesting remarks. And of course, your work at VNI also exemplifies the transformative potential of artificial intelligence. And with this movement on the stage, you can make out that now we are heading into a fireside conversation. And well, this would be a remarkable conversation we're going to have with Mr. Nandan Nilekani, co founder and chairman, Infosys, and Dario Amodei, founder of Anthropic. And before I invite our guests on the stage, let me say a few words about Mr. Nandan Nilekani, who is the architect of Aadhaar, the world's largest biometric identity system, and the intellectual godfather of India's digital public infrastructure movement. Nandan Nilekani has spent decades proving that technology built in the public interest can transform entire societies, and Aadhaar is a big example before the world. His thinking on artificial intelligence and open digital ecosystems is essential reading for anyone serious about this field. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would now invite Mr. Nandan Nilekani and Mr. Dario Amode for this conversation, which is being moderated by Mr. Rahul Mathan, partner Tri Legal. I invite all our three guests on the stage. Please welcome our guests on the stage. Thank you.
And then Dario, welcome, Dario. Great speech in the morning. You mentioned that we are in the end of the or towards the end of the exponential. This is something that you spoke about in Machines of Loving Grace, that we would have a country of geniuses in a data center. And the models over the last, I guess, 2 months have been sort of giving us a sense that we're getting there. But in your podcast with Dwarkesh, you sort of walked that back a bit by saying we may reach a country of geniuses in a data center, but the impact on society will take a long time. Can you explain what that means? Because we thought we'd do AGI and we would be finished and done with it.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Rahul. I would say there is this duality between the fundamental capabilities of the technology and the time that it takes for those capabilities to, to diffuse into the world, right? We're getting models that are very good at software engineering, that are increasingly good at, biomedical innovation. We're not there yet, but we're on this very fast exponential. But when I look across the world and I look across the enterprises of the world. We have many enterprises as customers. Even if we freezed in place what the technology was capable of today, I think the economic impact could be much greater than it is because it just takes time. There are just frictions to adopt things through enterprises, and I think even more so in the developing world. And when I visited Infosys, one of the things I talked about with Nandan was the we're both obviously very interested in making sure that this technology gets to everyone, and Nandan has devoted a big part of his life to many things in that direction, and has built out India's digital public infrastructure. And so I think this question of diffusion is very tied to the question of how do we make sure that everyone benefits.
So when the foundation models came, Nandan, you said that we should do use cases. And it sounds like Dario is saying the same thing, that even if we do the foundation model, we will still need to do use cases.
No, I think it's great what the foundations models are doing and the speed of evolution. But what we have learned is that diffusion of technology is a different ballgame. And how do you get technology to 1 billion people? And I think India, we have a little bit of experience with that. 1.4 billion people on Aadhaar, 500 million people on UPI, 20 billion transactions a month, the world's largest cash transfer system, the largest financial inclusion system, you name it, all that stuff. And we learned that diffusion is a technique. It's both an art and a science. It involves institutions, it involves policy making, negotiations, dealing with incumbents, dealing with newcomers, strategies for execution. So the whole, trust building, so a whole host of things. And I think if all the investments in AI are going to deliver the value to society, not to just to individuals, we'll have to look at diffusion pathways to take this to everyone. And I think India will lead on that. That's why I've always been saying that India should focus on becoming the use case capital of the world.
Dario, you had a more recent essay, which you call The Adolescence of Technology, which is a little more somber. Spoke a little bit about sort of dimming the enthusiasm of the first essay. And I want you to perhaps unpack that a little bit. We all have spoken about the risks of the technology, but particularly in the global south, where we think that AI is going to be hugely beneficial for us, we perhaps will have a different calculus on the risk reward ratio. What do you think about that, and how would
Yeah.
your essay address that?
I think that's an insightful comment, which is that I think in the global south there's an opportunity for AI to accelerate catch-up growth, to solve a bunch of problems that are in the way of catch-up growth. And so the I think AI is a technology that has big risks and big benefits, but in the global south the benefits may be even bigger than they are anywhere else. But at the same time, that doesn't mean, of course, that the risks aren't real. We kind of India is the world's largest democracy. We need to think about how democracies handle AI, and how we confront other countries that are authoritarian. That's one of the risks I talk about. Another risk I talk about is making sure that AI systems are safe and predictable, and autonomously behave in a way that's under our control. And everyone in the world has to worry about that. That affects everyone in the world. And then, I think of particular relevance to India is, the concerns I raised around economic displacement, right? Where, I think the signature of this technology is going to be that it greatly grows the economic pie for the whole world. And again, huge upside because of the opportunity for catch up growth, like, growth can be very, very fast. Um, but there things are going to change, and there's some potential for disruption. And I think what I've been thinking about as I visited India these last few days, and the last time I visited, is how can we work together with the companies in India to kind of drive this growth for everyone, to make sure that the existing companies, large and small, continue to prosper along with us and the other makers of AI, and also on a philanthropic basis, how we make sure that the benefits reach everyone, both in an economic sense, in a health sense, in kind of other senses. So I think India is, it kind of offers a particularly keen distillation of especially the benefits, but also the risks.
Nandan, you've had experience with an adolescent technology with the whole DPI. In the early days of DPI, it was challenging. There were challenges with getting the big vision, which of course now we're looking at, and in hindsight it looks like it was easy, but the early days was difficult. So, as the father of a mature technology, would you want to give the father of an adolescent some advice?
I know that makes me a grandfather. So I think it diffuse when you talk about diffusion, and you have to think of AI. Everybody agrees is like a general purpose technology. Like people give the simile to fire or electricity or whatever. It's about starting from the user and how can we improve their lives. How can we take a billion people and help them to learn better? How can we take a billion people and give them better health care? How can we take a half a billion farmers and improve their earnings? You have to start from there and then figure out how to make it happen. And it's not just technology. Technology is just one piece of the puzzle. It's about institutions. It's about trust building. It's about negotiations. It's about guardrails, which Dario mentioned. It's about working with different stakeholders and making them go towards a common vision. So it's diffusion is difficult. It's not a simple task. So I feel that India will demonstrate this because we have the experience of diffusion at population scale in all the various areas. And obviously, diffusion of AI, there are some differences that we need to think about, data, guardrails, and so on. But I think we can build a pathway or multiple pathways to that goal. And that will show the world, because I believe right now in AI, there's a race to the top and a race to the bottom. And the race to the bottom is faster than the race to the top. So I think all of us who have a stake in AI being useful to humanity have to accelerate and redouble our efforts to make the diffusion happen. Otherwise, the consequences are going to be very, very difficult, because there's going to be a backlash. If the only thing that AI does is, create deep fakes or raise the price of your power bill, or, all the other things that are happening, people are going to respond. I mean, the resentment of the blue collar worker led to the train wreck of globalization. The resentment of the white collar worker is going to lead to the train wreck of AI. So I think we really have to work very hard to show profound, useful cases of AI.
Dario, you were in India in October, and you're back again now. Uh, you spend a lot of time actually with the developer community. You clearly were impressed because you've come back so quickly. Could you tell us a little bit about, what your experience is with how India is building and using AI? Perhaps just go through the stack. I mean, enterprise, small business, startups, then developers. What's different about the way India does it?
Yeah, so I would say there's just an excitement here, and technical acumen, and we can even see it in the statistics of usage of Claude. Use of Claude for technical kind of programming and software engineering, mathematical tasks. The fraction is substantially higher here in India than it is in most other places in the world. And every time I go to speak at one of these, we'll host these builder or developer events in India. Just there's a lot of excitement. I can feel the brimming excitement of, like, what is something that we can build. In just the last 4 months, the use of Claude and Claude Code has doubled. has doubled in India. And I'm sure it's the same for the other. I don't say that to promote Claude and Claude Code. Like, it's more a statement about the kind of excitement in India on the enterprise level. I mean, the two of us just announced a partnership just yesterday. So we're really excited to work with all the large enterprises in India. They know much more about the Indian market. They know much more about distribution. They know how to serve enterprises within India, and they're much better at that than we are. And can we plug our technology into what they do, and create something that kind of wins for both sides, right? We would like to be able to jointly win with the companies in India. And then finally, I think there's another element that's almost unique, which is that there's an excitement to build, but there's an excitement to build for public good and for philanthropic benefits. So, Nandan kindly introduced me to the XStep Foundation, of course, builds digital infrastructure, and we've already started to work on a number of projects really to reach people in rural areas. We're trying to combine Claude with something called Open AgriNet, which helps farmers in rural regions to kind of find better information and better advice to be more effective and efficient. And we're looking to expand that a great deal. So I think that's something totally unique to India. And that through folks in the private sector, we would get connected to these efforts, and there would be mutual enthusiasm to promote these efforts.
And you, of course, have an office. You've declared a managing director. But actually, more importantly, Sonnet 4.6, which dropped yesterday very inconveniently, so I couldn't try it, apparently is doing very well on 10 Indic languages. So there seems to be a bit of a focus in your development as well on India. Can you tell me why that's important? Why language, cultural context is important, and what India can play, what role it can play in that?
Yeah. So, language models have always been multilingual, but of course they're better at languages than that they've been trained more on. And of course, as I learned when I first came here, India has a very long tail of regional languages. And we see this as something related to access, something related to making we provide benefits for everyone, right? If we can only speak the most common languages, then there's a long tail we're not reaching, right? The farmers that we mentioned, many of them speak one of the less common regional languages, and so we put in place a push, collaborating with folks in India to acquire more data for this long tail of Indic languages, and Sonnet 4.6 represents an improvement. We're not all the way there yet. We want these models to be as good, even far out in the long tail of these languages as they are at speaking English. And we're making progress towards that. We're not there yet, but we want to keep going.
And then after you built DPI, I mean, I say after, like as if you stopped, you still continue to do it. But after you did the bulk of the work, you spent some time and effort actually taking it out to other countries. And I was wondering whether you've thought about that for AI. And,
Sure.
as it's been mentioned so many times today that this is the first AI summit in the Global South. And so I think perhaps countries of the Global South, if there's a model, as it were, for doing this, would benefit from those ideas. So as you think about it, is it costs? Is it skill? Is it data? Infrastructure? What is it that countries need to think about for this?
No, sure. No, finally, it's about a lived experience. If you've done it, you can do it better next time. So what we did in the DPI part, the digital public infrastructure, is that after several years of that experience, we worked with global philanthropists, set up something called Co-Develop, and said, let's take DPI global. And today we have some version of DPI running in about 40 countries around the world. We recently had a summit in Cape Town, where we had 1,200 delegates from 109 countries. So it's become a global movement. And we feel that if AI has to really be impactful, we need something similar. So yesterday we just launched something called 100 diffusion pathways by 2030. We like to have targets. So
can you explain that?
Yeah, so the idea is that a diffusion pathway is basically a way to reach a particular goal, which you got from learning, from doing things, and then packaging it. And it's not just technical packaging, it's about guardrails. It's about how do you get institutions on board, how do you make how do you make data available. There's a whole host of things, but think of it as a toolbox or a playbook for doing things. And then this is a global initiative, so you're going to work around the world and create multiple diffusion pathways and then share them with each other so that we can accelerate this thing. And Anthropic is part of that, we have Google as part of that, Gates Foundation is there, UNDP is there, the Kenyans it's a global coalition. Because what we learned from the agriculture experience, we implemented, we worked with Maharashtra on their agri stack, which is called Mahavistar, and that took us 9 months to figure out how to make it work safely at scale. Using the same learning, it was done in Ethiopia, which took 3 months because we had the learning of Maharashtra. And then using the same learning at the PM was very keen to see it in animal husbandry, so we worked with Amul, and we did that in 3 weeks. So you can see the trajectory of time, right, from 9 months to 3 months to 3 weeks. So what that shows is that if we can do this lived experience and keep improving and package that and take it to the world, we'll move the implementation of AI to the real world. And that, I think, is strategically important for the world of AI.
So 100 by 30 is the new.
Yeah, 100 diffusion pathways by 2030. And we welcome everyone to join this moment.
You have many such catchphrases, but the one that really stood out to me at some time ago was India needs AI and AI needs India. We've spoken a bit about the India needs AI, but why does AI need India?
Because this is where we're going to show it working. I think because of the history of India's digital journey, and thanks to the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, who is the biggest champion of all the work that's going on, we have a political leadership that's committed. We have technologists. We have enough people with the right value system to make this happen. And we have done this before. And therefore, India will be where you'll see most of the deployment of AI in a tangible way, where farmers are able to make more money, where children learn better, where healthcare is better, where people talk in their own language, so you have universal access. So this is where you're going to show this. And the world needs this to be shown, and the AI companies need this to be shown, because they have to show real stuff where this is working at scale for people. So I think, yeah, it's very important.
Dario, if I can ask you, if you were to rewrite Machines of Loving Grace, which is a beautiful 20,000 word or something essay for India, if you were to think about, what is that utopic vision of what AI could be for India, what would it be? I mean, obviously not 20,000 words, but whatever few ideas you could have now.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of what was there was universal, but there are some things that I would accentuate that are possible when you have such a large population for running, running this kind of large possibility of experiments, right? You have here a very large population for kind of studying and improving human health. There's world-class medical research. So I think I would double down especially on some of the sections about accelerating the cures for diseases. We just had Demis Hassabis, who has basically solved the protein folding problem with AI and kind of shown us all the way. And what we need are like 50 improvements like that. And the hope is working together between the AI developers and the folks who diffuse AI and do the actual medical research. Can all of us working together between the AI companies and folks in India really accelerate progress. I would also say accelerating the rate of economic development. There is so much technical potential and technical adeptness in India. And it actually almost seems like a perfect case study for the idea that AI could really accelerate economic growth, because it seems like the base ingredients are kind of all there, and AI could help to tie them together. So, in the developed world, I've wondered, well, could AI lead us to, 10% growth rates, which sounds absurd, but that's the thing I imagined in the positive scenario of machines of loving grace. But I think here in India, there's a lot of catch-up growth to be done. There's an enormous amount of technical potential and ability, and as I'm seeing, there's this eagerness to adopt AI. So India is one of the few places in the world where I wonder, could there be 20 or 25% growth, which is, sounds absurd, is unknown anywhere in the world. But as I think about this, it kind of stacks all the factors for a very bullish picture of how that growth could happen. So, I think I could imagine being in India being one of the countries in the world that most embodies this. Certainly, the large country that most embodies this.
And Nandan, with all of these things, there needs to be some unlock. So, if you were to advise governments of the world, governments of India, governments of the global south, what should they do to unlock this 20-25% growth that Dario dreams of?
I don't
for
know
India?
about 25 and all that. If I get 10, I'll be happy. But I think there are a number of things. Obviously, I think people before have talked about the need to create massive compute. We need to bring in the models. I think the focus has to be on inclusion. I think this AI has to carry everybody. Everybody must feel it. Everybody must benefit from it. And that's why I think the language is very important. We want people to be able to speak to the computer in their language, in their dialect, mixing English, Hindi, Tamil, whatever. That needs to be done. I think that's a big thing. And then I think making agents work for people. I think if we can make agents work for people, then it means more inclusion because they can get complex things done because you're hiding all the sophistication behind the agent. So I think there are a lot of things we can do, you'll see now in the coming years. We already have 3 or 4 examples in agriculture, in healthcare, in language, in education, in electricity. We have a very good example of P2P trading. So I think all these are examples of how AI will actually benefit people. And then I think, as to Dario's point, India is a country which is very positive about technology in general and AI in particular. And we need to take advantage of that and not let them down by giving them truly transformative applications using AI, which you will see in the next 2 to 3 years.
Nandan, Dario, thank you so much. What a lovely conversation.
Thank you. That's great.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nandan Nilekani and Mr. Dario Amote. And thank you, Rahul Mathan, for moderating it. Well, it was quite an engaging conversation, I must say.